Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to round 6 of the Apex Racing League GT Trophy Pro Championship here at Long Beach, brought to you live on Apex Racing TV. My name's Andy Thompson. I'm joining the commentary booth today with Dave Whitehouse and Jane Parfitt, and in production we have Dennis Branch. So guys, obviously Long Beach, completely different circuit than we've been to previously in this current championship. The rest of them have been quite open tracks. Our first city track of the championship, really tight corners, walls on either side, so it's certainly going to be a new challenge for the drivers tonight.
It certainly is. We've got a really tight testing circuit. After we had Road Atlanta in sort of dusk dark conditions last time out, we now have the bright lights around the city of Long Beach, and it's going to be one mistake and you're in the wall and you're damaged and you're going to have to try and rejoin the race. And it's not a simple flat road circuit. You've got the crests over hill, hidden corners. It's a real challenge for these drivers in the GT Pro Championship.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and obviously to our new viewers on YouTube, if there is new viewers, to the layout of this championship. So they've got a 10-minute qualifying at the moment, and then we go into a 60-minute race. So only one race in the GT Pro category. It's pro because obviously the minimum I rating in this series is 2.2k. So to be able to enter, you must have a minimum of 2.2k and an A-class license to be able to race in this series. It's going to be a testing one, and qualifying is going to be really important. because getting up at that grid and trying to get away at the start of the race is going to be really good, isn't it, James?
Yeah, definitely, especially when they go off, obviously, after the pace lap. You're going into the Toyota section, which famously, as we know, as you can see Carl Winkler going into the same bit, you're going around the fountain. So if you make a mistake in that corner, you're going to block the rest of the track. So there's going to be just one big traffic jam right the way behind you before you can carry on again. And 9 out of 10 times you're going to tow, I think. I turning round, I think it's just going to be very tight in that section.
Sure. I mean, obviously, as we say, all important qualifying, because we've seen in previous season it is like a big long train at the start of these races for the first 10 minutes, and it's probably even more so here, exactly like you say there, James. If one of these cars has an incident on the lap, it's literally going to be backing up the field. So it's even more important on this round to be able to get at the front of the grid, to get that clean air, to try and minimize the effects of anybody having any incidents in front of you, because I think that's going to play a big part in today's race. But what we'll do is we'll have a look at the current standings at the moment within the championship. So Sven Newman at the moment is currently in P1, didn't race the last race, so obviously the drivers do get a drop round in this championship, so that would be Sven Newman's drop round. But whenever he's been in this championship so far, he's almost like dominated the race. Him and Bogdan Monovan have had some really epic battles on certain rounds. One I can think off the top of my head is Laguna Seca. For pretty 55 minutes of that race, it was them two nose to tail with John Derrick in third. But Brandon DeBone obviously moving up after a great win at Road Atlanta in fourth place, Leon Penn in fifth, Chris Beats in sixth, Richard Gavenku in seventh, Michael Palic in eighth. How about Grinstad in ninth? And to round out your top 10 is Otto Hirtela. And obviously in this championship, unlike every other championship, the top 10 drivers actually receive prizes from our free title sponsors of Apex Racing TV. SDK Gaming, Virtual Racing School, and Apex Racing Academy. Sorry, I got too much paper on my mail, but certainly the championship's quite open, guys, and it's still open to anyone. But at the moment, Sven Newman is the one to catch in the championship.
That's absolutely right. Sorry.
Yeah, he's had 2 wins, hasn't he, throughout the season? So he's got to be the man to beat, isn't he?
Yeah, Sven Newman's been on impeccable form. Almost won the first race, won the second. He was there or thereabouts in third, won the fourth, missed the fifth. But the guy who's on there's 2 people on huge form at the moment, and they're sitting at the top of his table. Richard Gavenku and Brandon Tabone. Tabone, the winner of the last race. Gavenku on the podium last 2 times. And while he had a bit of a steady start to the season, he has been so rapid in the second half of these races that he cannot be ruled out at any point, even if he has a poor start to a race.
Definitely. I mean, I think one of the other things to consider is obviously in the previous rounds, a lot of the pros have gone from the absolute minimum downforce. So what your guys take on sort of this track, and if some of the pros decide to do that minimum downforce, where do you think they're going to be on the setups?
Well, I think minimum downforce is okay for the 2 straights, but would you want to run it through that Toyota section and then the next few corners after? It's I don't know. I would look at a more medium downforce setup, because these corners are going to be so important. I would look at running more of a medium downforce setup, but that's just me. But obviously these guys, are 2,200 iRating plus, so they obviously know how their car is going to handle under a low downforce setup. But it's going to be an interesting one, especially to see how the low downforce copes with the very tight corners that we've got on this track.
I think the low downforce setup could work for these guys. I mean, you do have a few straights on this circuit, and you can back people up in the tighter sections, which I don't think there's many circuits that these guys as professionals will look at putting too much downforce on it. But for somebody like ourselves who probably aren't as capable as these guys out on track, we'd probably be banging a Monaco style setup on it and just making sure we could get around the corners.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm probably erring towards the medium. Obviously, I know if you have the low downforce around these corners, it is quite tight. But if you've got that medium setup, you can go into the corners a little bit later. Yeah, you're losing a little bit on the straights, but you know the only real major straight is that the one out of the hairpin from the last corner in turn 11 coming down into turn 1. You know, which is a quite long straight to away. But you know, there's positions to be had on the more sort of open corners going around the back end of the section around turn 5, 6 and 8 that you can actually, if you've got that higher downforce, you might be able to go around there a little bit quicker. So it's going to be certainly an interesting to see what the guys have set up, and maybe we'll be able to see that in the race. Certainly when we go down the straights, if people can obviously overtake each other quite quickly, or whether they neutralise each other down the straights. But it's certainly interesting one to see, as currently we are nearly 8 minutes into qualifying, so only 2 minutes left at the moment. So sitting in the pole position at the moment is Richard Gudfenku, the usual suspect in second at the moment. Sven Newman only 0.15 seconds off. Brandon Taboni in third. Matteo Sutu in fourth. Moldovan in fifth. Leon Penn in sixth. Carl Winkler in seventh. Michael Palic in eighth. Leon Ward in ninth. And John Derrick in 10th. But as always, guys, the timings, I mean, look at how close they are, all the way down to sort of P18, who's only 1.1 seconds off the pole position guy. It's so close in qualifying.
Yeah, it's quite a short circuit here at Long Beach, only 76 seconds for a lap time, but 7 tenths, just 7.5 tenths to cover the top 17. There is one thing I did want to bring up before the start of this race: the pit lane exit of this circuit. There is a blue line down the side of the track marking the pit lane exit. Now, most drivers will know you can't exit the pit lane and cut across the main line, but actually that marks the outside of the circuit for the drivers still on the track as well, and you can pick up penalties by cutting across that. So the drivers will have to watch that, especially at the start when you're just looking for that little bit of space down into turn 1.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be the guys pushing the limits as much as they can, but you know, to me, as we watch Sven Newman there go into the top of the grid at the moment of 1:16.7.83, so obviously getting into the tail end of only 30 seconds left of this qualifying, so everybody pretty much on their last lap coming into there, so we'll see if anybody can knock Sven Newman off pole position. But Richard Gudfenku and Brandon Boney, as you were talking about, Dave, two drivers that seem to be on the charge at the moment, are currently sitting second and third.
Yeah, putting in very strong laps. Tabone just ahead, well, actually quite far ahead of Moldovan, who's down in 6th today. A little better than he did last time out at Road Atlanta, but very much a bit... Oh, as Sven Newman hits the wall there, but Moldovan a little bit hot and cold, and he's now in the middle of this circuit. So hopefully he'll be able to fight his way through to challenge Sven Newman, but it does look like another pole position currently. But Richard Gudfenku is on a better lap. He's about to cross the start-finish line now, and he crosses the line and still... No, he will stay in second place, so unfortunately for Richard... Oh, no, he doesn't. He takes pole position by 38 thousandths of a second, and somebody has finally toppled Sven Newman in a qualifying session. I think the last time may have been Laguna Seca, when Moldovan got pole and dominated till the last 5 minutes, so that's a good effort. John Derrick here now needing to... He was trying to improve from 10th, but he dives into the pits, and unfortunately he will have to start from 10th. Nobody else really improving to challenge the front few. Richard Watkins here coming across the line, this time out, and Otto Hurtler there. Yeah, no improvement there in position for these drivers, so one place for Richard Watkins. So I think that's all the laps finished for qualifying, and it's Richard Gudfenku in the Porsche who takes pole position.
Yeah, so we saw Sven Newman there take it, and Richard just took it straight back from him. So certainly going to be a hotly contested race between Richard Gavenko at the moment and Sven Newman as we wait for the guys to line up for the grid. So we'll quickly run through the grid for you. So in pole position is Richard Gavenko. In second place, Sven Newman. Third place, Brandon Taboni with Mattel Satu behind him in fourth. Leon Penn in fifth, Bogdan Moldovan in sixth, Carl Winkler in seventh, Michael Palic in eighth, Lewis Ward in ninth, John Derrick in 10th, Habon Gribstad in 11th, Chris Beats currently sat in 12th, Ostan Herford in 13, Otto Hirtela in 14, Emmanuel Gazella in 15th, Adam Brown 16th, Kurt Calmeri in 17th, Kieran Smart in 18th, Rodden Grossman in 19th, Richard Watkins 20th, Dominic Elgin in 21st, and Matthias Beer currently in 22nd. So a couple of new faces there on the grid as well tonight. So it's always nice to see new drivers coming into the championship to gain that vital experience. Obviously coming in a little bit late into the championship, but obviously gaining vital experience for possibly the next season of the GT Trophy. So as we line up just off, it's going to be a rolling start for this first race. So guys, who's going to call it then?
I think straight away you've got my pick will be Richard Gavenko just because of the pace he's on and that he proved me wrong that you could overtake around the outside of his corkscrew.
Bogdan Moldovan. He's sat in sixth, you know, and he's quick anyway. So I think he's got the options of moving up, and there's not a lot between the top six in regards to time. So that's who I'm going with.
Oh, there we have. So we have Richard Gavenko and Bogdan Moldovan as the commentator's choice for the winner of this race tonight. 60 minutes around Long Beach ahead of us. One mandatory pit stop the guys will take, and as we've seen in previous rounds as well, guys, is the strategy of the pit stop. Are you going to pit early or in the middle, or are you going to try and take it to the very last minute to try and get the fuse? What are your thoughts?
I think if you're stuck in traffic, so if you're sitting 7th and 8th and you're not making headway stuck in traffic, I think it would be easy to go for the undercut. But if you've got free air like Richard or Sven might have at the beginning, then it's definitely worth taking that a little bit longer.
Yeah, definitely. As we come around the last corner, so a relatively short outlap for the guys, and they line up on the field. So Richard Gavenko holding up Sven there, so he's literally taking it right to the limit, back in the field up, which is probably a wise move for himself as he puts his foot down now and gets away. So pretty much backed up the field. So the top 10 were all right on each other, as we see like 3 wide at the back between Satul, Palic and Moldovan going into the first corner, which is always a treacherous move coming into the first corner there, and we can sort of see 2 banks of 3 cars wide going in there. So should give us each other space, go around the first corner, so managing the front lot to try and get through. And they all managed to get through nice and safely. So the only movers currently in the top 6, Malcolm Palic up 2 places, and Bogdan Moldovan has moved up to 5th place. But certainly what they'll be doing now is just warming their tyres up, getting their temperature in them tyres to be able to really push on as we normally see in this championship. So be about 10 minutes, I think, but we see this thing. As we see a big spinner here, Leon Ward coming out of turn number 5, which is quite a treacherous one. So it'll be interesting to see if he got hit or if that was a self-imposed mistake there.
Yeah, it's possibly just overage. If he catches the curb too easily, he will be round. Yeah, just launches it over the curb. So easy to do on that corner. You try and take it tight because you want to get on the power early and not run wide into the barrier, but then that's the opposite effect that might happen, as we can now see Richard Gavenko leading this train of cars. I think that would lead back to about 9th place at this moment, with Carl Winkler and John Derrick just clinging on to the back of them for now. But all the championship contenders all in this battle, all near the front, so we're not missing anyone out. Nobody's having a poor day so far, but Sven Newman applying the pressure to Richard Gavenko, which is quite interesting because Richard hasn't been in this position of trying to dominate a race yet this season. He's always been the one trying to play catch up, so let's see how he deals with the pressure.
Yeah, definitely is. One of the big things that we were talking about at the start, if you're in that midfield and somebody has an incident in front of you, you can lose a lot of time very quickly on this track, as we're starting to see the field to slightly spread out a little bit from first all the way down to 16th at the moment is 10 seconds on track. So, anybody in front of you that has a slight different issue on this track will affect your speed and obviously your current lap time, so you will be losing it. So it's vitally important for the guys to try and keep it clean and try and get up as quickly as they can through the pack. But obviously at the moment Rich Gafenku's got a clear track in front of him, so he can basically go on any line he wants, and Sven Newman's following him quite nicely with Brandon Toney in third, currently a second behind the leader. So we're still very close within this opening couple of laps here at Long Beach.
Yeah, the pack just coming through the first few corners, and I think we have to ask James what his thoughts are on the opening few laps.
The fact that they got away cleanly was great, and we didn't end up with a car park in the Toyota around the flyouting section. I think that's a credit to these guys as well. But as you say, looking at flashpoints on the circuit where things can happen, you've obviously got that Toyota section, you've got that last hairpin as well, and you've got that tricky corner where if you take up through turn round Pine Avenue and onto Seaside Way, if you do too much curb, as we saw with Lewis World, it's so easy just to spin round. So it is very close. While you are tucked up literally less than a second behind somebody, as you say, it's 2 seconds to lose it, and before you know it, you've got somebody right behind them. So you've got to be very careful.
Yeah, these walls, I mean, you can see how tight this track is in Long Beach. There's just literally no runoff. So you make a single mistake, and not only are you affecting yourself, you're certainly at the close proximity these cars are to each other at the moment, is that you're going to be affecting a lot of cars behind you. Certainly if you're like going into that hairpin around the first corner and around that fountain section, as we've been talking about, the three sort of clinch points on this track at the moment. If you have an incident there, you are going to be holding up the cars on the track. But like you said, these drivers are well experienced with these tracks being quite high rating themselves. Obviously 2.2 being the minimum. We have got people in this series currently around about the 7k I rating, so we've got a vast array and spread of I rating within the field that we've got tonight. But I'd expect it to keep them clean and certainly in the first half. But as we've seen in previous rounds, Dave, after the pit stop strategies, and when they're all done, that's when the real racing really starts heating up in this championship.
Yeah, it's always where these drivers are professionals. They know they've got an hour. There's no point trying to win it on the first 5 minutes, because you've got the strategy to try and play out. You've got incidents, you've got mistakes by other drivers, and it's always going to be something that happens in the second half of a race. But currently, just to fill you in with the newcomers, we've got Gazella in 13th, Brown in 15th, and Watkins in 19th. So all running quite nicely throughout this race. And Gazella was only 7/10 off pole position on his debut, so that's a good start by him. And Adam Brown not too far behind either, so it's a strong start by the newcomers.
Yeah, but I don't think I've ever seen so many Scots in a race. We've got Leon Penn, Adam Brown and Kieran Smart, so 3 Scots flying the flag for Scotland in this GT Pro. So nice to see them guys coming out in force at the moment. But yeah, it's a very multicultural field that we have got here tonight and going in. So just a quick shout out to one of our sponsors, Apex Racing Academy. They currently have 29 data packs, all with setups, track guides. It's fully integrated with the virtual racing school platform. They have weekly group coaching sessions, and they have many more. So if you want to improve your iRacing experience and get into this league to try and get up into them lofty 2k plus I rating, then head over to apexracingac.com and see if there's anything there that you can do. Very many different packages that you can go from the basic all the way up to the pro sort of setups and track guides. So please head over to apexracingac.com to see what they can offer you. As we're currently watching Otto Hittala in 14th place with Adam Brown just behind him at the moment. So it's pretty much starting to spread out a little quickly on this track. As we see, Adam Brown trying to take it down the inside of turn 1 and not collecting Otto Hürtel as he returns back to the pit. So there's the effect of turn 1 trying to go two cars wide into it as we see our first incident around that corner.
Yeah, I think Adam was a little bit far behind for that one. It was late, but the space was there to go for it. I just think this early in the race, do you need to be making a move? So he's come from quite far back, and he's gone up the inside, and Otto had no idea he was even there, and the two just collect into the tyre wall. Do they collect the car behind? Slightly, but not really enough to cause him much damage. So, yeah, I think maybe just a little bit of inexperience there with Adam Brown, even though he must be experienced enough to get into this race. So let's see if he can make a recovery, and same with Otto, who is currently in the pits.
Yeah, I mean, it did look like Otto Hürtel actually gave him a little bit of a sniff on the inside there, and obviously Adam decided to take it. But unfortunately, that turn 1 is, you've got to be extremely confident in your abilities to be able to get around that corner and make an effective pass around turn 1. One of the other things interesting on this is obviously the pit exit, as we saw there, Adam diving into the pits, which is literally just after the hairpin on this one. The drivers have got to be watching that they don't actually speed in the pits, because this one's a quite easy track to do that on.
Yeah, it's really easy to do, and just to mention, Moldovan has just moved up into 4th place. But yeah, it's really easy to do on these street circuits because you're racing hard all day, and then you just want to get back out there, especially with the high speed of the other cars out on the main straights, James.
Yeah, as he went in, I think Adam, the problem with frustrations might have boiled over down at Seaside Way, to be fair, because when we were on board with him, he was taking completely different lines to Otto, and Otto was giving a bit more respect to the curbs, and Adam was using them a little bit more. So I think Adam kind of was getting a little bit frustrated, saying, okay, I am quicker than you. I really want to get past you. And as I say, he went for the move at turn 1. There was a gap, but unfortunately the door was closed. But he had a little bit, by the looks of the jiggling of the car going into the pits, I think he's got some little bit of steering damage there as well. And just hopefully he didn't pick up a penalty for speeding, because it is right at the front. As soon as you go in the pit lane, you've literally got to be slowing down. So it'll be interesting to see how he comes out and recovers from that, really.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a really long pit straight as well. Obviously, it takes the full length of that start-finish straight. And then, obviously, you just got to be wary of getting on the power too early as well, because there's a bit of a gap between where you leave the pits till you actually pass them green cones to be able to start your lap. So it must feel like an eternity for these drivers down the pit lanes. But one of the good things that the drivers do have at their disposal tonight is a fast repair. So, you know, even though they do have to go back to the pits, they shouldn't lose too much time to be able to pick up that fast repair. And I'd expect quite a few of the drivers will be using them around here, because there'll be certainly plenty of wall rubbing from these pros as we get into the latter stages of the race.
Yeah, I think you may have noticed that Otto was in the pits for quite a long time. The tow took a while, I think, with him. But Adam Brown definitely took his fast repair with that pit stop. And he's got to keep it clean for another 50 minutes now, or he's going to be finishing with a damaged car or a lot of time in the pits. What we were just looking at, though, was previous to this was the top 12, including Gribstad and Hereford, 2 of the stars of last week's race, all in a queue. 10 seconds covering the top 12 at the moment, and nobody really scampering away. There's a little bit of gap between first and second, but then nothing else as there's a battle down here into the Toyota section, and that's between Leon Ward and Matthias Beer. I think Ward is in the middle of Engel and Beer, so in a German sandwich at the moment, so he's just going to have to take his time as he tries to recover from that early spin on lap 1.
Yeah, definitely. As we see the front 2, starting to get a little bit of gap over Brandon Taboni in 3rd, so currently about 2 seconds ahead down the field, and then a little bit of a gap back to Moldovan in fourth, and then it really starts heating up from there. So we've got Nigel Sutu, Michael Powlich, John Derrick, Leon Penn, Carl Winkler, Chris Beats, Grimstad, Hereford, all within sort of just touching distance of each of the cars as we watch there with Dominic Engel and Kurt Kamari is right on the back of Dominic Engel, trying to get past him wherever he can. We saw Dominic actually hit the wall quite hard on the previous lap, so he might have picked up a slight bit of damage, certainly on the right-hand side of his car. So I don't know if we'll ever get a shot of that, and we'll probably see the scuff marks down the side of that Porsche as he manages to get past Dominic Engel at the moment. So Dominic Engel struggling a little bit, and now has got Richard Watkins on his tail in 20th place.
Yeah, he dropped 4 places then as well. If you saw him, he was ahead of the Lewis Ward and Mateus Beer battle as well. So he's losing positions quite quickly. He dropped 4 within the space of about 2 corners. So he's either carrying a slight little steering offset damage, or, as you say, the scuff against the wall has not really done him any favours.
Certainly see there now the damage is starting to appear on some of the cars. If you look at Leon Penn's car there, his rear wing has been completely modified on the right hand side and has got an extra kink in there, so obviously he's hit the wall at some stage, and I think the majority of the drivers will get some sort of damage on this track because it's notorious for damage coming around here. And certainly with these guys, as we watch a nice trying to move there coming down into turn number 1, and Leon Penn and Chris Beats did an exceptional move there, almost trying to get it done around turn 1, but then getting it done down the fountain. So a really good move there from Chris Beats on Leon Penn in 10th place. So Chris Beats currently takes 9th place, so a great move there.
Yeah, I think Leon Penn was basically thinking, I'll live to fight another day. There's plenty of battles around this circuit to worry about later on, and it wasn't really worth trying to squeeze 2 of them into that fountain section. Actually, initially when I saw that, I thought it was Newman and Gavencu side by side coming back down back straight, but no, they're only 4 tenths apart still, and not really dropping to Bone in too much. He's 2.5 seconds behind the winner from last time out, and he's not being dropped. Moldovan's not really being dropped either. His gap stayed around 4 seconds to the leader, so the top 4 are just sort of pegging each other in terms of gap. The quickest last time round was Brandon Tabone, but only by 3 tenths, so the gap just sort of fluctuating between this, and it's still in a sort of undercut territory as we see Leon Penn being passed by Hakan Grimstad, and Penn seems to be falling back in the last few laps, so I wonder if he's got a bit of damage. He's just trying to get to a pit stop so he doesn't have to pit twice, repairing some damage. But the only problem you can have with that is if it's something like steering, you could slip the wall quite easily and you will have issues. But this is it, Hakan Grimstad down the front stretch, so much more speed than Penn, so Penn must have damage of some kind, and there's a little touch there which we caught the end of on the live action, and Penn luckily just letting Grimstad go. But yeah, Penn seems to have an issue with straight line speed, so he'll be looking to fix that with his fast repair, as we see Dominic Engel doing a 3-point turn and towing to the pits.
Yes, we've also got Adam Brown back in the pits as well, so we'll hopefully get a replay of what happened here. It looks like it's going to be a self-induced injury here, obviously going over that's around the back straight, isn't it? That's a very strange place to miss the corner coming down into turn 9. Obviously outbreaking himself, so that car must have been carrying some damage and gone back to the pits. So not a great night for Dominic Engel, currently in the pits in 21st position. But we rejoin the action here in P11 with Leon Penn with Hereford just behind him, Gazella in 13th, that's literally just behind. So a big a train of 3 cars at the moment here fighting over 11th place, and Grimstad is only just in front of Leon Penn, but has got that vital little bit of gap over him at the moment, so is not feeling the pressure behind him. And that's probably vitally important around this track, is that, you know, if you've not got a car behind you, you can cut the lines that you want to cut on the course. If you've got a car fighting really hard, you're going to be forced into defensive moves, and that's where you see the loss of time on your lap time, and that's where the gaps start appearing. And maybe that's what's happening at the front, is there seems to be little gaps between sort of like third, fourth and fifth are quite close together now, but because there's little gaps, the front two are not really pulling away. But you know, at the moment, I think Dave, you're on for a good one here. Richard Kofenko currently sat in first place and has led that from start to finish, with Sven Newman still hot on his tail at the moment, and he may be biding his time and not feeling that he doesn't really need to push at the moment. But Richard Kofenko in first, Sven Newman in second, and Brandon Taboni in third.
Yeah, it's a great battle so far at the front in terms of just pure pace, not making mistakes. Sutu sitting in behind Moldovan in a similar coloured car, and just having a watching brief, it looks like, at the moment. He was quickest driver out of the top 5 last time round, but just sitting there nicely, just protecting the rear of his countryman Moldovan, and plenty of time left. It's only 18 minutes of this race gone.
Yeah, definitely. It's been the usual race that we have in this GT. We haven't felt the odd few incidents coming in, but all relatively quiet as such for the first half of this race. As we saw the timing tower there, the positions the guys have lost and gained, and there's the odd one that's had a particularly bad one, like Leon Penn, down 7 places, but the majority of drivers either getting up 1 or 2 places, a couple getting up 3, or just getting down 1. So you know, the original grid that we had and the positions they started, you know, relatively close to where they all did, apart from obviously, like you said, a couple of the drivers that have had incidents on the track. But then we start seeing the action when the pit lane comes in, and you get the undercuts and the overcuts. That's when all the action really starts heating up in this championship.
Yeah, and that's Ronald Grossman just holding off Lewis Ward, who's on his recovery drive still, back up into 16th at the moment. And I think Adam Brown must have had some heavy damage, because when you said he was back in the pits, he's now 3 laps down, but still repairing, so it looks like he's going to try and get back out in this race.
Yeah, definitely. But obviously used his fast repair previously, where we saw him dart into the pits after the the first corner incident with Hertela, and obviously come back in. So he's managed to come out now. He's 4 laps down, so he needs to get within 3 laps of the front runner to be able to score some points in this championship. But you know, he is a brand new driver to this championship, so therefore it'll probably just be gaining experience and trying to still keep within the battles of on track, just to gain that vital experience for driving in this. Be interesting to see what sort of league experience he does have, because we do have a lot of drivers that do come into this championship for first time, and I implore anybody listening, if they do fancy coming in and trying the hand at league racing, completely different to the standard iRacing carnage that you see on, as you can see tonight with the standard driving that we do have. We've got many different leagues here on Apex Racing TV and ARL, so just head over to apexracingleague.com, where literally every car is catered for. We have on Mondays, we've got currently Formula V going into Mazdas, and then on Tuesdays we have this going AM at the Pro at the moment, but then we're following it by an AM Championship. Wednesday we currently got the Radicals. Thursday we're looking at a new championship. It was going to be TC, but unfortunately that has been cancelled now. Fridays we've got the brand new Porsche 922 championship that's just started, so round 2 is this Friday. And then on Saturday we got the Formula Renault 2.0 series starting, so that should be an interesting. On Sundays we've just finished the season 5 of the GT Championship, so we're just looking at what we can do there. So head over to apexracingleague.com and get yourself signed up for them leagues. You know, I certainly say you won't regret it if you do. So as we currently back to the action here, watching Richard Kofenko and Sven Newman now closing up a little bit and pushing Richard along, and I'm pretty sure that Richard will be feeling the pressure and know exactly where Sven Newman is on the track.
I think that's the important thing for Gafenko now, is he's just got to really settle down into what his race line is. You know, it's, as you say earlier, it's easy to be defending consistently, but there are times that defending could obviously cost you time, which is bringing Sven Newman now into like 0.4 of a second. So he's really got to be looking at trying to take his line as much as possible at the same time as really kind of being defensive. It's probably easier for us to say than actually do. So it's going to be interesting to see what Richards does regarding the pit stop window, and see whether or not he goes in early and releases Newman, and then seeing what Newman can do on top of that lap time wise, really.
Oh, as we see a big turnaround there, Ronald Grossman, and I think it was Kurt Calmeri coming to blows, coming towards the back end of the section as we watch what happened here. Ronald Grossman in front and Kurt Calmeri just behind him, coming into the end of the back straight there. And unfortunately, Ronald just spins it out wide, so a self-inflicted. Oh no, a poor rejoin coming in and picking up one of the BMWs as he came through there. So unfortunately, unsupported collective bystander there getting in. Or as we see Kurt Kamari there coming around and hitting Richard Wilkins around the first corner. So it's certainly starting to hot up now, 23 minutes into a 60-minute race around this track.
Yeah, I think Kurt got caught. I think it was Lewis Ward behind the spinning Grossman, and then it was Calmeri who got caught up on the rejoin, so that's where the damage has come for him, and just frustration. Probably didn't mean to touch Richard Watkins there, just the frustration maybe gave a better. But going to the pit stops, I think we're going to see a similar thing as we see quite often in sort of real world racing with Formula 1. Sven Newman will just do exact opposite to Richard Gavencu in terms of the pit stops. There's no point staying right behind him in pit stop, because you're going to have about the same pit stops time. So you see John Derrick has finally got past Powlich and up into 6th place. Derrick, the man on the move at the moment, 4 places up on his 10th place grid position, and he will look to pull away from Powlich from now. But we do have pit lane visitors. Leon Penn, who we've seen dropping down the field, he's one of the first men in. Gribstad and Kurt is heading in now as well. So this will be the start of the pit stop times for people, as Gribstad is the first man out of the pits.
Yeah, so it's roundabout where we see the early pit stoppers, and you know, this could be because obviously caught up behind the traffic that you think is faster. If you pit earlier, and you might be able to get yourself in a bit of fresh air, and then be able to take over the position when the slower guys in front pit. But at the front, I think Richard will be pushing it as far as he can in this race to pit. I wouldn't imagine he would come in early to try and do it, because if he does, he's going to certainly come out in traffic. So I'd imagine from him he'll be looking at being one of the last ones to pit. And it depends what Sven does, whether he tries the undercut and goes in slightly early. But I would expect Richard to either cover Sven if he does go in the lap before, as we see there, Mark Situl. The problem is when you have a spinning on this course, is trying to get a safe exit, as we see him do an Austin Bowers 20-point turn there, trying to get it out to not impede any of the drivers. So a great bit of skill there from El Situ, not to just come straight across the course. And that was around turn 1. Who was that on the inside?
I think that was Kameri rejoining from his pit stop, and Moldovan ran into the side of him, or just literally running wide on his racing line, and then it was night for Situ. So yeah, not the best. He was on a really good run as well there, but falls to 9th place. Austin Hereford has headed for the pit lane. The pit stop time seemed to be around 16-17 seconds, and the pit lane whole time is about 55 if you for an average sort of time. So as we see Moldovan in the pits, but this leaves people like Kavenku and Newman in the pit position. But if they pit now, they're going to come out just behind Richard Watkins, and they need to find themselves some clear space. Watkins has about a 20-second gap up to Matthias Beer in 13th, so if they can just stretch it 1 or 2 more laps, that gap will open up and they'll be able to pit, as Situ also joins his countryman Moldovan in the pits.
Yeah, it looks like Leon Penn might have had an incident, so it's coming up on our timing tower that he's had a crash. So obviously we just seen him go into the pit. So if he has and he's come out and he's had a crash, then that would put pay to him, as we see him currently down in 18th place. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happened to him, if it was a real crash. Let's have a look here, and hopefully we see. So just coming out of the pits, coming down at the start-finish straight, coming down into turn 1. So has he got it wrong going into turn 1? Takes it a bit too wide. It goes out wide, hits the back end. He might get away from that from a damage point of view, but certainly won't help his confidence going around that first corner.
Yeah, it's not the best thing to be doing if you need to build your confidence up after a crash early in the race. But the two leaders continue on, and now the gap will be... The gap's sort of a bit filled in now. Moldovan only 51 seconds off the lead. So he's looking, if he can put in some good laps now, he's looking at a good chance of being up into the top 3 on this race. And maybe a bit further. Just depends how the pit stops run out. As we've got Paulich down an escape road at turn 1. That's why the timing tower's gone a bit AWire, thinking he's leading, but no, he's back out and back into 8th place. But I think it would just be an out-braking move, just go a bit deep, just a bit deep over bumps and heads up the escape road. Luckily you've got that to turn around in, so you're not going to cause yourself any damage.
Yeah, I think one of the things that they need to be aware of, James, is obviously, as we saw there, you know, if you're coming out of the pits and there's a car coming down, hurtling down that first straight, is, you know, you're coming out right onto the turning points of that. So I think the cars need to be aware of that.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, they've obviously got some form of spotter or crew chief running, and I think if it says car behind coming out the pits, as maybe that's what was happening with Camilleri there, as he was coming out with obviously Bogdan and Sutil coming down the straight. I think you've got to be a little bit sensible. It's easy just to back off, let them go round the corner and fight another day, rather than having what we saw with the Camilleri incident, where unfortunately, you know, Bogdan hit him in the side, Sutil hit him right behind, and that kind of ended it for Camilleri, really. And he's 3 laps down now. It might have been a little bit easier just to back off, let them go through and fight another day to carry it on, really.
Yeah, and obviously from that incident, as we see there on the timing tower, he's currently out of the race, 3 laps down. So he's done, big incident here, Sven Newman spinning it and getting it all really wrong. You think he might well have been, so it'd be great to see an incident back on that. But wow, you know, that is devastating for him. Obviously, really good. Trying to get down. Oh, that was an optimistic move, trying to get down that inside of that corner, managing to get it done. So we'll just see what happens here. Oh, I think it's a bit of both. I think Sven came across him and Richard was trying to follow his line. So bit of a big incident here between the top 2. Richard Gafencu managing to keep it straight, but Sven Newman getting turned there. Still currently sat in 3rd place, but this may force his hand to get into that pit lane, as we see him there just diving into the pit lane. He'll get his fast repair, get his fuel on board for the rest of the race, and it shouldn't affect him too much.
Actually, the racing line comes back across, as you'll see here, and Gafencu just ended up touching him, but that has allowed Brandon Tabone to reignite the battle they had at Road Atlanta for the victory, just the other way round. And these two are clear of John Derrick, who's up into 3rd place now, so he's done well from 10th. Obviously a few pit stops to help that, and Sven Newman has come out behind Bogdan Moldovan. So there's a 3-second gap there, and that spin has cost Newman, because Moldovan was in 4th, so that's put him behind Brandon Tabone on the change list, as long as Tabone and Gafencu and everybody has a standard pit stop. But nobody else heading for the pits from the leaders at the moment. Engel is in for now, but yeah, it's just, that's a big cost for Sven Newman. He's got the chance with the championship, but obviously missed the last round, so still needs some big scores to take this title.
Hasn't got the safety blanket of having that drop round score, so that drop round score has already happened for him, which will score 0 points on that. So he's pretty much got to make sure that he finishes the rest of the race, and I bet that was certainly unexpected for him as we watch Kieran Smart, like pretty much giving Lewis Ward 8th position there. So unless there's an issue with Kieran Smart currently sat in 9th place, but Lewis Ward seems to be quite a quick driver on the track at the moment. Up 9. Sorry, he's only up 1 place from where he actually started, but you know, keeping that position where he was on his grid, so still within a top 10 place. So Richard Gafencu's obviously swapped the BMW for another BMW, and he must be getting a bit sick of seeing the sight of BMWs right behind him at the moment. Yeah, we're in similar colours as well, so it's the back of that Porsche is probably magnetic to BMWs at the moment. Newcomer Gazella is in 6th with pit stops happening at the moment, so that's a great effort by him. And like we just saw, Lewis Ward, that is a recovery drive after his first lap spin, up to 8th, and certainly got the pace to challenge for a top 10 even after that spin. So we'll just see how he gets on. But the gap isn't closing between Newman and Moldovan either, so they're maybe just struggling for a little bit of pace there. But let's see what happens once Gavencu and Tabone finally pit. As you can now see, Moldovan flashing his lights to try and get past the lap runner in front as they try and close down on Matthias Beer. Yeah, definitely. So Bogdan Moldovan the top place at the moment out of the pit stop contenders that have been in so far, with Sven Newman currently in 2nd. So everybody from 10th place upwards still needs to pit within this race, and so it'll be interesting to see when they all start coming in, which it should be within the next 5 to 8 minutes. I think that they will be starting to come in for their pit stop. But like we said, James, is I think Richard's going to go as far as he possibly can to make sure that he can eke out as much time and spend as little time in that pit to try and get back out.
Yeah, as we can see at the moment, though, the Bogdan is sitting in quite a comfortable position, because we said earlier it was like 50 plus seconds in the pits. He's only 48 behind Gafencu. So unless Gafencu now ignores Tabone in his mirror and really tries to hammer out quali lap, there's a good chance when he goes in and the guys in front go into the pits, Bogdan is in a great position to take the lead. And at the moment, Gafencu would come out behind Newman and Bogdan at the same time with the 50-second in and out pit stop.
Yeah, so it's certainly looking at the moment, the way the pit stops are going to come out to play is that the guys that have done the undercut, or the ones that have gone in early, have sort of the advantage at the moment, with the top two sort of within that window, as we see Bogdan slightly hitting the wall on the outside and slightly rearranging his front left-hand wing there, as on iRacing normally does on the car. So pushing it to the limits, and he probably is aware of this, thinking, I could actually come out here in first place here, as I'm gaining on Richard in first place. And I think, Dave, you said it was about a 51-second pit stop as we watch Carl Winkler coming into the pits from P5. Yeah, it's about 50 to 55 seconds, somewhere between there. Depends which driver I was following, and obviously some of them had slower stops than others. But yeah, Carl Winkler in for his first pit stop in 3 rounds, because he didn't attend the last 2. But still showing his pace. I think last time we saw him, he was playing rear gunner to Newman when Newman went and won round 2. But Mike Paulich is now pressuring the newcomer Gazella, who's, as I say, I think he's been really impressive here today. He's had to keep his nose clean early on, stayed on the back of the pack, learnt from everybody else, and is now putting in decent enough times to challenge for the top 10 later on. He's setting currently mid 18s, and the leaders are on 18.1s, so he's not too far off the pace. It's consistent, and yeah, a strong showing by Gazella at this stage. Yeah, definitely. I think you two commentators called it right at the start. So certainly the one that seems to be in the race is obviously Richard Gafencu out the front, which is your choice, Dave. But Bogdan Moldovan in 10th place, looking like he could possibly take that first place. But as we look at Sven Newman now, he's caught up slightly on Bogdan and is literally only just over a second behind Bogdan at the moment, so was massively caught in that gap. Was 3 seconds behind him after their round of pit stop. So it'll be interesting to see who wins out of the battle of the commentators as well, guys.
Well, where have we seen this fight before? Newman trying to catch Moldovan, and the times we've seen it before, quite a few times Moldovan's made a mistake and Newman's got through it. I think back to Laguna Seca for the last time it happened, and let's hope that Moldovan can hold on to this position and keep Newman behind for the championship fight. Gazella, Paulich, Ward all in the pits now, falling back downfield to 12th, 13th, and we're just waiting for Ward to rejoin in 15th. So, and Richard Gavencu is in the pits. Brandon Tabone follows him in, so Tabone will be kicking himself that he hasn't got anything extra. And as always, we see John Derrick continue on as long as he possibly can. Chris Beats is in the pits as well, so yeah, John Derrick, always one of them that seems to get that extra lap of fuel or so out of the car.
Yeah, so as we saw there, the fast repair going on Richard Gavencu's car and popping out his wings, so literally it's just the fuel now, so we would expect them to take less fuel than what the other guys did, but be interesting to see now where they come back out on track, as we see Bogdan coming around the last hairpin, starting his run up the start-finish race with Sven Newman at the moment. Richard Gavencu, Brandon Tabone and Chris Beats all on pit and exit, but as we know, this is an extra long pit straight coming out of there as they come out, so it looks like we're still going to have Richard Gavencu currently leading this race at the moment, with Brandon Tabone back, and Brandon Moldovan just behind him, about 3 seconds behind him. So I think it's pretty neutralised, but you know what they have done is they have closed the gap considerably on the front two runners, but Chris Beats managing to get behind, so Chris getting, although he was coming out at the same time as Richard Gavencu, Brandon Tabone, Moldovan and Sven Newman managed to get past Chris Beats. So Moldovan and Newman now got P1 and P2 provisional in their sights as John Derrick comes into the pits finally. But we still got Kieran Smart and Matthias Beer that haven't come into the pits, that are currently sat in second and third. And as we say that, they come in the pits.
Yeah, so Richard Gavencu will retake the lead here. Be interesting to see where John Derrick comes out in all of this, but there's Gavencu into the final corner. He will head off down the straight with the beach on the left-hand side, and looking like it's not really a walk in the park or a walk on the beach today. But John Derrick is on pit exit, so there he is heading out. He's got a state of a limiter till that cone, so he will fall behind Moldovan, possibly fall behind Newman. It's going to be close behind, actually, between Derrick and Newman. There we go. Newman just makes it through, and that mistake by Newman earlier on in the collision with Gavencu could have cost him another position to Derrick there, but Derrick obviously got all his repairs done if there was any needed, and now can apply the pressure to the championship leader.
Yeah, definitely. So a quick roundup of the top 10 after the round of pit stops. So currently got Richard Gavencu sitting in first place, Brandon Tabone in second, Bogdan Moldovan in third place, Sven Newman in fourth, John Derrick, who are currently watching on stream now, in fifth place, Chris Beats in sixth, Carl Winkler in seventh, Anton Grebstad in 8th, Matao Satu in 9th, and Austin Herford in 10th. So all after the pit stops, you know, we see some bigger gains now. So Chris Beats is up 6 places, John Derrick up 5 places, but the biggest mover of the field is Matthias Beer down in 14th place, currently up 8 places from where he started. And at the moment we've got 2 retirees, Kurt Kamari and Adam Brown, that unfortunately have decided to call it a night, and Dominic Engel as well, although he's shown as still in the pits, currently 9 laps down. He'll be on probably an extra long repair because he would have already taken his fast repair. Just a quick shout out to one of our other sponsors, SDK Gaming, who provide the wonderful overlay that we're currently seeing on screen at the moment. They provide a virtual live HUD to iRacing, showing the timing towers. They have relative enhanced relative boxes, mini maps, fuel calculators, and very much more. They do stream to Switch with the most comprehensive overlay on iRacing. And they also brought, you can broadcast your leagues and synchronize your cameras between the broadcasters and the commentators, so every commentator can see the same camera angle at the same time, so keeps the commentary live and completely up to date. So if you fancy getting this wonderful overlay that we use here on Apex Racing League TV on all of our streams, head over to SDK-gaming.co.uk and I believe they give a 14-day free trial to see if you like it or not. But promise me, if you do use that and you are broadcasting your own leagues, it's a vital tool for you to be able to do a professional commentary outfit. So head over to them at sdkgaming.co.uk to see what they can offer for you. As we're currently watching Michael Palich in 11th place at the moment, down 3 places from where he started, but fighting quite hard with Austin Herford just in front of, and the newcomer to the league, Emmanuel Gazzella, in 12th place, currently up 3 places from where he started. So a great opening round for the newcomer into the championship. So welcome to league racing here, Emmanuel, and you're doing a very good job at the moment. So currently sat in 12th place at the moment.
Yeah, we really don't want to stick the commentator's curse on him at the moment, but he's doing a great job on his debut, as we now watch Winkler, Gribstad and Satu all in the battle for 7th place. And they're only 4 seconds behind Chris Beats, so maybe they can work together and draw him in as you see Beats disappear off into the distance. But back up the front, there's an 8/10 lead for Richard Gavencu. Moldovan's 3.5 back from that, and then there's this nice little battle between Newman and Derek to see if they can change position. Derek 2/10 quicker than Newman on that last lap, so Newman not in the stride he was earlier when he was putting Richard Gavencu under pressure.
No, definitely not. As we see, I think Bogdan is losing a little bit of time on the leaders. The time seems to be going up ever slightly, like 1/10 a lap between that. So Sven Newman isn't that far behind him, so 0.7 of a second behind him, and was considerably closer. But I think Sven's now had to deal with John Derrick in 5th place, which is letting Brandon Bogdan move a little bit further out in a 3rd place at the moment, to give him that fresh air space to try and get back that time lost to Brandon Taboni in 2nd place. But at the moment, Richard Gavencu's had a really good round, apart from obviously the incident we saw on screen with Sven Newman. He sort of led this race from the front and seems to be pulling away slightly on Brandon Taboni in 2nd place.
I think that's the thing with Gavencu now. He's just got to really kind of settle in with 15 minutes to go and just keep plodding away. He's doing the quicker lap times, but he's still got to keep plodding and keep sticking to his line. Bogdan can see them down the road, so that's that added driver incentive for whatever reason, makes you drive quicker when you can see the cars in front of you, as you can think, right, I can catch them. And he's only 2.5 seconds back, and he's, and Tabone's only a second back from Gavencu. This is going to go right down to the last 5 minutes, last lap even, because these guys are still close to each other.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know what your guys thought on it, where you prefer to be in a race, whether you prefer to be in 1st place to have the free air in front of you, or you prefer to be the chasing car behind. I mean, my personal preference is I like to be the car behind, because, you can see the car in front of you, and it gives you that extra emphasis to try and push the corners and try and close that gap, and you also can put the driver in front of you under pressure. But it'd be interesting to see what your guys have thought on where you would rather be in this race currently.
For myself, I am always preferable to be the driver chasing. I don't, as much as I like to dominate a race, I've done sort of karting before, and I am sort of known for giving up my 4-second leads and that, because not because of the pressure, but because I don't know what pace is going on behind, and I can run to their pace if I can see them, but if I can't see them, I run to my own pace, which isn't quite quick enough at times. So I always like to be sort of in Brandon Tabone's position, just chasing, but in a position where I could still win it. Well, I don't know about James.
I've got, honestly though, I've got to be a leader, because if I'm chasing, I'm pushing and I'm pushing and I'm pushing, and if I'm not making their lap times by a tenth or half a tenth, then I'm going to try and push further, which then in my own head leads me into making silly mistakes, and I drop back even further. I think if I'm out front and I've got this 1.4 second gap, or 1.1 as it is, I think I'm just more comfortable because I can stick to my line. I can just settle in and try and do them quali laps. As same for Gavenko that put him on pole. He can just, sit there and do them, and I can do them and just get on with it a little bit and try and open that gap up, to be fair.
Yeah, so a bit different in view. It'd be interesting to see if any of our viewers on YouTube want to write in the channel. We'll obviously try and air your views on where you stand, whether you're the leader or you like to be the chaser. But I think, Dave, I don't think I'd be giving up 4-second lead just to see the pace of the second cars, because Clay, you must be faster if you got a 4-second lead. So
it's not a purpose thing I try and do. I've known it. I've done it twice. Once was against a guy who was called Super GT on YouTube. Some people may know him. And the other time was when I was leading for the first time ever in this one championship. And I was just like, this is going far too well. And the guys behind just knew what pace to run, whereas I didn't, because I hadn't been to the circuit before. So, and this is unlike in this iRacing world. You don't know what times other people are running. You don't even know what times you are running, because you have no sort of lap time or anything. So it's complete guesswork on whether you think you're improving or not. So it's much easier in the iRacing world to know what everybody else is doing.
Well, if you had SDK Gaming, you certainly would know your lap times and where the other one was. So there's an added bonus extra. That was a nice walk in there, I think. So thanks for that, Dave. I'll take that.
I think I'll stick that one on. I don't think it'll go on the front of my visor, to be fair, but I could give it a go.
Yeah, it definitely is. We were watching there, Lewis Ward trying to get past Casella in 12th place. Giving the newcomer a little bit of welcome to the GT Pro League, and putting him under a lot of pressure. So we'll see if Casella can actually keep in 12th place over Lewis Ward. But we're certainly at the front of this race now, where we see status quo, where Bogdan Moldovan currently in 3rd place and Sven Newman right on his tail in 4th place. We'll be aware of maybe the slight overextending around the corner. We're just watching him now that he had with Richard Kafenko, and maybe just eyeing up another part, but we certainly see Sven Newman now in the usual position of right onto the back of Bogdan Moldovan. And like you said, Dave, we have seen the pressure tell on Bogdan going into previous rounds. So we have only 10 minutes left of this race. Is Bogdan gonna crack again and make a slight mistake to let Sven Newman through, or is he going to be able to keep his cool and keep Sven behind him? So that's the $1 million question, I think.
It really is. And just to mention, in terms of championship challenges, Leon Penn down in 16th. It would be the first time he's finished outside the top 8 this year, so this is his first sort of poor race, as such as we see Carl Winkler running wide at the hairpin, and that allows one of the drivers to get through. That's 2. So yeah, not a great race for Leon Penn today. Here's Austin Hereford heading to the inside. I know it's Hereford being that was just, I think, just 2 cars trying to head for the same line, but that's setting Hereford to the pits after quite a strong run to about 10th place here today. So that pushes Powlich up into 10th. There is Lewis Ward, who has been fighting back since lap 1 to come back through the field, and he's up to 12th place. We have officially 3 cars out of this race. That's Richard Watkins, Kurt Calamari, and Brown, the newcomer Brown, who's 27 laps down. Engels in the pit, still 16 laps down, which is, I think, possibly just trying to do some repairs, but he won't be scoring points. And Austin Hereford has now officially retired, so it's certainly not as attritional as I thought it might be around a circuit like Long Beach, but these, as we know, these are professionals, and sort of having 5 of them out the race is quite a lot anyway.
Yeah, but you got to give it to Dominic Engel sticking in there. You know, I think he went in and he was, I think he was about 3 laps or 4 laps down. Now currently 17th and still not decided to pit out. So got to admire his tenacity to stay in this race, and maybe he will get out before the end, or maybe he won't. There's only currently 8 minutes left of this race to go at the moment, as we're on board with Bogdan Moldovan, who's currently in third place with Sven Newman hot on his tail. At the front we've got Richard Kofenku with Brandon Taboni 0.7 to 0.8 of a second behind him lap after lap. So Richard seems to be just holding him off at the moment over Brandon, so I think that's a bit of a role reversal from last week in Road Atlanta, but certainly the fight at the moment that we've been used to all season is Bogdan Moldovan in third place and Sven Newman in fourth. So we see here Sven tries to go around the outside to get that inside line into the hairpin, but decides better of it and just gives Bogdan the space, but that might compromise Bogdan's move off the hairpin coming out the straight. So we'll see if Sven can actually try and pull in alongside him to get him down into first place, but at the moment it looks like it pretty much neutralising each other coming down here, going down into the first turn. And so status quo after yet another lap of racing between Bogdan Moldovan and Sven Newman.
It's important to recognise that these guys have been swapping quickest times. Not by much, don't get me wrong. There's Bogdan Moldovan was the quickest out by 0.1 last time, and Newman was quickest the lap before by the same time. So they're not really making a difference. They're losing time to Taboni in front. They've lost a second over the last few laps as well, where these guys are consistently fighting. But time-wise for themselves, they're pretty much similar in the way that the race is going. You know, they're both in the same sort of category of time. So it's going to be interesting to see. Bogdan's looking, a little bit more defensive, and Newman's got him on the edge. So it will be interesting to see how this finishes, coming down with the last 6 minutes plus 1 after.
Yeah, it's something we always come to used to in this championship, but don't count out John Derrick. Just there in the background, you can see in the black Lamborghini, just getting onto the back of these two cars. So with these two battling them out and being defensive, it will bring John Derrick in, and it'd be interesting to see if our resident UK guy can get the sneak done on the two of them and try and get it, as we watch here with Lewis Ward and Gazella still battling out for P11 as Lewis Ward tries to put it up on the inside on the hairpin, but Gazella will have that inside line, so will push that up east, but will compromise his speed coming out, and Lewis Ward should get this done. As we see, he tries to move to the inside, so tucks in behind him just to get that extra bit of slipstream coming down into the first corner, but certainly got a good exit. But great defensive there from Gazella, trying to keep him off, but I think Lewis will try and dive down as we watch him here going into the first corner, so hopefully keep it clean. So oh no, Gazella still managed to keep it, but obviously giving Lewis a more to 2x2. Oh, Gazella nearly goes into the water into the roundabout there, so gets pushed slightly on the inside line from Lewis, but a great pass there coming around turn 2.
Mega impressive by Lewis Ward and Gazella there. They've both kept it very clean through the Toyota section and the Fountain section, and there's no way that either were going to give way, but there's also no way they seem to be going to have an accident, so that's mightily impressive by both drivers. But back in this battle for third place now, Newman has another run on Moldovan down into turn 1. Just doesn't seem to have that little bit extra pace to be able to make the move. He gets to have a look and try and put Moldovan under pressure, but Moldovan wise to it, should be wise to it now after the battles these two have had all season long, and Moldovan just holding off. He's got another 4 minutes to hold off, so certainly a good chance of that. John Derrick's been dropped a little bit by these two, but at the very front, Tabone is now only 8 tenths behind Gavencu. The gap has kept fluctuating between the two, but we'll have to see whether he can make the move as Newman now looks to the inside of Bogdan Moldovan, up the inside onto the back straight. Oh, and Moldovan's in the wall. Moldovan trying to hang it out round the outside of Newman, catches that very thick tyre wall they have on the exit of that corner, and that has caused possible steering damage to Moldovan's car, and John Derrick is ready to get through, but we'll just see the replay here. Newman gets a much tighter line out, much more drive, heads to the inside, and it was a clear pass, and I think Moldovan just tried to hang it around the outside a bit too long there, and Newman was always going to have to run wide. But yeah, that's that. Let's see if Moldovan can still hold on to fifth place. No, he's already been passed by Derek for fourth, so Moldovan will try and get home in fifth place or higher if he can, but there will be damage to that car in some kind of capacity.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate again. We saw the outcome of the battle of Newman and Moldovan being coming down to a sort of incident there. It's probably a 50-50 one, obviously. There, Sven came into that corner. He was always going to go round wide, and I think if you've ever driven around this track and tried to take somebody around the inside of this corner we're watching now, is that you're always going to slip out wide coming around this open corner. And with them the tyre barrier behind, as we saw there, you know, the car behind us has not really got anywhere to go. If that wasn't there, it wouldn't have been a problem. We would have been able to cut out wide, but because that was, it sort of cuts, almost makes like a narrow choke point coming into that corner, at the corner, and then makes it exceptionally hard for the guys to do that. So a bit unfortunate again that the incident or the battle that we were seeing on screen that was unfolding, it was lap after lap, 1/10 of a second between them, being resolved by an unfortunate incident and putting paid to Bogdan Moldovan. So that's, I think, twice now that's Bogdan's actually come off the worst between the incidents between Sven and himself.
Yeah, I think it is, but here we are at the very front, and the gap is down to less than half a second. Tabone has caught Gavencu. Roles reversed completely from Road Atlanta. Gavencu was closing down on Tabone. Tabone has got there quicker than Gavencu did last time. We're on board with him now, and now he just has to try and find a way past this Porsche. But apart from that incident with Newman, which I can't really apportion blame to him for, Richard Gavencu has driven a superb race from the front with pole position, and I think he has fastest lap at the moment. But Tabone is really on a charge and just trying to find a way past. But I think we'll begin with a white flag this time by to go on to the last lap here at Long Beach.
Well, James, where do you think this one's going to go? Obviously, where are you putting your money on the first car or the second car?
I think the thing is, looking at Tabone, he's looking very more composed. Gavencu seems a little bit more wild as he's going around some of the corners and really kind of pushing the limits of that Porsche, and Tabone seems a little bit more controlled. So it'd be interesting to see if Gavencu can hold that kind of his nerve really with the last lap and to go. So I think Gavencu's to lose. I think that's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, definitely. So just a shout out to our last sponsor before we watch these guys coming back over the line. So Virtual Racing School. So if you want to improve your on-track performance, they have over 50 plus data packs for road and oval racing, which includes setup, track guides, data analysis software, and one-to-one coaching. Please head over to virtualracingschool.com where you can find out a little bit more information about what services they do offer. As we get back to here to the race winning position at the moment, Rich Gavencu still keeping that first place, but Brandon Tabone only 0.4 of a second, but there's only a couple of corners left on this race, and then I think it's all going to come down to the hairpin. So if Richard can get a decent corner out of this hairpin, I think he will have it done, as Brandon tries to get on the inside of it, but I think it's going to be to no avail. I think that at the moment Richard Gavencu is obviously led from start to finish of this race, has come home in first place, and Brandon Tabone up one position from where he started in third, gets the second. Sven Newman gets third, and we'll just wait for John Derrick and Bogdan Moldovan after that unfortunate incident with Sven Newman coming in fifth place. Chris Beats in sixth, just wait for Gribstad to come over in seventh, with Satul in eighth. Carl Winkler looking like in ninth at the moment, and Michael Palic is just behind him. So that rounds out your top 10. So great racing and great action tonight, guys, on there. Has there any been standout moments for you at the moment in this race?
First up, obviously we have Gavencu's domination, Newman and Moldovan's battle and collision, but where did Gribstad come from? I saw him just outside the top 10 before the pit stops and thought he's doing okay, but up in about 7th place by the end. That is a remarkable performance by the Norwegian.
Yeah, I think it's good to see Casella up there as well. He's up 3 positions on his starting position. He's in 12th, has finished 12th, and that's great for a new driver to the league. And obviously, you've got to give a shout out to Matthias Beer, who is the biggest mover in the whole race. He's up 9 positions from his grid position, so well done to him. But yeah, I think it's definitely Gavenko's dominance from start to finish and being able to deal with the pressure of the 2 drivers that were chasing him.
Yeah, Matthias Spear, who is known as the Austin Powers of the ARL world due to his rather exceptional liveries on his car. So now we have all cars passed over the line. We'll just quickly run through the race results. So Richard Kavenku, first place, Brandon Taboni in second, Sven Newman in third, John Derrick in fourth, Bogdan Moldovan in fifth, Chris Beats in sixth, Hakon Grimstad in seventh, Mital Satu in eighth, Carl Winkler in 9th, Michael Palic in 10th, Lewis Ward in 11th, Emmanuel Casella in 12th, Matthias Beer in 13th, Kieran Smart in 14th. And the last of probably not the runners, 15th was Leon Penn, Ronald Gorsman in 16th, Otto Hertler in 17th place, and then we've got the non-finishers really, Oscar Herford, Richard Watkins, Dominic Engel. Got to give it to him. He's still showing in the pit, so they're still furiously trying to fix his car. Kirk Amari in 21st, and Adam Brown, welcome to the league, in 22nd place. So mixed bags there, but you can't take it away from Richard there in first place, and leading it out from start to finish with a few battles on the way between himself, Brandon Taboni, and Sven Newman.
Yeah, he kept the pressure cooker down in his car and kept everybody right behind, and from pole position as well, fastest lap of the race, I think. So certainly a remarkable performance from him, and he'll be hoping for the same next time out at Hungaro Ring.
It looks like we have one person waiting in the interview area, so we're bringing him. We're going to bring in Mr. Chris Beats, who finished in 6th place in that round. Obviously, getting up 6 places, starting in 12th. Hello, Chris, and welcome to the commentary booth. A good race there overall, managing to get up 6 places. How was the race for you overall?
First of all, hi Andrew and the team. It was all right. Just trying to stay out of traffic and the chaos that comes with this track. But it was a poor qualifying, and I'll take the result. It was good. It was a good move up the grid.
Yeah, we were watching you a few times, and you seem to be carving your way through. Often where we were saying that you couldn't pass again, you drivers are proving us wrong, as we saw you pass. I think it was Emil Casella around the roundabout after the second turn-in, which is always a risky move to do, but you did it rather exceptional, obviously getting alongside him in the first corner and then managing to take him on the second corner around the roundabout. So that was a great move. So them sort of moves must be really satisfying for you.
For sure. A lot of these guys in this league are very respectful. They'll give you the space, but at the same time, they'll give you minimum space. So what could have been an easy pass will be more difficult with this league. And I think it was Leon I passed. I mean, he literally gave me inches, and that's all I needed. And it would be the same way if I was defending. These guys are fantastic. Their lap times are so consistent. So if anyone makes a mistake, you have to capitalize on it.
You seem to be churning out the decent results, obviously getting always in sort of like the top 10 positions 9 times out of 10, which puts you in good stead for keeping you up there and in challenging things. But what's been the biggest challenge for you in this series to overcome, and what have you had to think differently about your driving style to try and get the maximum out of your car?
Biggest challenge, I think, really is this car, the GT3 car in general. It's easy in theory to drive with the ABS and the traction control, but I think it's exceptionally difficult to drive it fast. I feel more comfortable in a GTE car, which makes no sense. But league like this is why I came in, was to push myself a little harder to learn and to be a little bit better. I definitely think my iRating doesn't match my speed for this car, but I seem to be kind of mixing it up with guys I shouldn't normally, and it's good fun. I'm learning a lot. Yeah, I'm just every race is a learning experience.
Yes, you're our resident over the pond competitor within this league, which is always nice to have you guys in the league as well. And obviously doing a sterling job at the moment, keeping yourself up, and obviously with the time difference that's over there. So next round, we've got the brand new track, the Hungaro Ring, for round number 7. How are you looking forward to that? And have you actually managed to get around it yet?
Yeah, I've done a couple laps. It's familiar in the sense with like Formula One games and whatnot. That I've done some laps there, but completely different in a GT car. Different lines, different curbs to take. It should be interesting to see who knows their way around next week. I don't doubt these guys will put some laps in and know what they're doing by the time Tuesday comes around next week. And yeah, the being overseas, it does play into the game a little bit. I do get net coded sometimes. The Phantom 4Xs, it happened last week. It cost me a drive-through penalty, and I think these guys know that. They seem to give me a little bit more space maybe than some of the other drivers, but I try my best to try not to touch anybody, because it seems as though I have a much larger invisible bubble around my car, if you want to say that.
Yeah, definitely. But a great result tonight, up 6 places and finishing in 6th. So congratulations, Chris, on that. Before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Sure, yeah. The Pacific Sim Motorsports, it's local to my area. It's a good community. I've made lots of friends through it. I think since COVID started, iRacing's brought a lot of people together, and they've definitely brought me together with a new group of friends. And then, and of course, my lovely wife for supporting my obsession with motorsports. So, yeah, that's about it. Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for joining us in the commentary booth, and good luck at round 7 in the Hungaro Ring.
All right, thanks. Good day.
See you later, Chris. So there was Chris Beats there, obviously finishing in 6th place, and consistently in the top 10 normally of the rounds that we have go. So going well from our resident over the pond driver there. So we've got another driver waiting in the wings. Our current 2nd place. Did you want to take him, Dave?
Yeah, that's fine. Second placed Brandon Tabone. And Brandon, another podium, your 3rd of the season. Not quite the win this time, but Richard, you got better of Richard last time out, and Richard got better of you this time.
Yeah, it was a good race. Like he was flying on the straight. He had different setup and different wing. But overall, it was a very good race. I don't know what happened between Richard and Sven. Unlucky for him. But yeah, I managed to finish 2nd place.
And these strong results you've been having are sort of pushing you up in the championship challenge. I think you'll be certainly closer to John Derrick after this race. Have you got any sort of targets for this season?
I mean, there is plenty left. I will keep practicing. And yeah, maybe top 3 will be very good for me. But if I get top 5, it's good as well. So I will keep trying to get these results.
You think there's anywhere tonight where you could have, because you seem to have a very clean race, a very consistent race. Is there anywhere you think I could have gained a little bit there and that would have won me the race?
I think if I had a better setup, especially in the straights, maybe I would fight. But with the setup I raced in, it wasn't possible. Like even if I passed Richard, he would like pass me in the straight immediately.
And going back to the championship, you're one of the only drivers to finish in the top 8 in every single race. Obviously, the 3 podiums you've had so far. Is there anything that, have you got any circuits coming up that you think, oh, maybe that will have to be my drop round, like ones you may not like?
I was thinking this one, but I managed to get 2nd place. So
If
yeah,
this
but
is a circuit you don't like, then let's hope the rest don't turn up for the other races.
always like I was lucky, maybe like I didn't have accidents. So here, like in every race, if you have one accident, you're done. So yeah, I was lucky to finish all races top 10. Let's hope I will finish like this.
And obviously, the Hungaro Ring is a new circuit to pretty much everybody on iRacing. Have you managed to do many laps? Do you sort of know your way around already?
Yeah, I did some laps in the new Porsche Cup. Nothing in the GT3s yet, but yeah, we will get ready for it and practice.
Okay, and obviously your championship challenge started with your win last time out. You got second this time, and good luck to you throughout the rest of the season. Before we let you go, is there anybody you want to shout out to?
Yeah, thank you very much. Shout out to Apex for this championship, to our sponsor VRIC, and our team Crazy Racing Esports. And I'm very happy we got a 1-2 again for the second time.
Thank you very much, Brandon, and good luck at the Hungaro Ring.
Thank you.
So that was Brandon Tabone, who finished first last time out, second this time out. And a little thing I actually noticed of our race winner with Richard Gavencu, he's now had a third, a second, and last time out I mentioned to him that he needs to complete the set with the win, and he's done that now, so he needs to keep it up in the next round.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't come in and obviously say to you that he's actually got the 1, 2, 3 now. So unfortunately, I'm pretty sure he's excited anyway, and off celebrating his 3 podium positions overall. But no, it's been an interesting round tonight, and I think you called it quite well, Dave. There, obviously getting your commentators. So you're the champion commentator at the moment, with obviously calling Richard Gavencu as the winner of this. James, unfortunate there, mate. Obviously, in 5th place, bogged down, but he was on the pace, but unfortunately, an incident put paid to that. So, guys, we've got Hungaro Ring next, brand new course, brand new track on iRacing. It should be an interesting one.
Yeah, the Hungaro Ring, sort of known. It's a strange circuit, really, because a lot of people go, "Oh, it's not known for its overtaking. It's not known for exciting races," but I don't really know the last time I saw a boring race around there. It's a weird track because it is sort of line astern for most of it, but it does produce some brilliant races at times.
It's definitely going to be an exciting one going into the track as well. And as you say, the drivers are definitely going to have to practice and practice and practice and practice. It's a brand new track, so it will be interesting to see how they cope with that and see who can get them. I suppose in a way you just want to see who can get the most laps in, to get the most practice, to get to know what the track's going to do after 40 minutes, after 50 minutes, after the whole race, really. So it's definitely going to see who puts the work in, and I think whoever puts the work in the most is likely to come out on top.
Yeah, definitely. And that brings us sort of to the close of tonight's racing here at Longridge for the Apex Racing GT Trophy. But big thanks again to our sponsors, Virtual Racing School, SDK Gaming, and Apex Racing Academy. I've been Andy Thompson. I've been joining the commentary booth with Dave Whitehouse and James Parfit, and in the production we've had the wonderful Dennis Brandt showing us the wonderful overlays and the pictures that we've had here tonight. So, from us here, all in the commentary box, and obviously from Dennis in the production box, I bid you farewell and look forward to seeing you for round 7 over in the Hungaro Ring same time next week. Good night.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.